Shabbat Shalom. בשנה הבאה שבא למרפסת ונספור ציפורים נודדות, ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. ענבים אדומים ישבירו הערב ויצאו יונים לשולחן, ורוחות רדומים ייסעו אל הדרך פתאום ישנים כענן. בשנה הבאה. check, check. Check, check. Lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai ya lai 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 ya 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 yeah, 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 yeah. So this is a song. Can everybody hear me in the back? Woo! All right, this is a song with no words. So even if this is the first time you heard it, or the millionth time you've heard this before, sing it like it's the millionth time, and we're gonna sing and clap, and we're gonna sing in Ezra for his big day. Here we go. Here we go. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la ya la 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 Ya 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 la la la. Part B goes like this. Here we go. Ya 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 yeah 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 yeah. Faster or slower? All right. Hey, ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 la. Here we go. Ya 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 ya. Last time that part B. Here we go, everybody. Here we go. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Beautiful. Welcome. If you open up your siddur there, above a baby picture, sing Hine Matov. Hine Matov umanai
Shevet Achim Gam Yahad Tov umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yahad Hine ma tov Shevet Achim Gam Yahad Hine ma tov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine ma tov umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine ma tov umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine ma tov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine ma tov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad
Hine ma tov umanayim
Shevet Achim Gam Yachad
Hine ma tov
umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine ma tov Ya la la ya la 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 Hine ma tov Ya la la ya la 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 Hine ma tov umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine ma tov umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
Continue with Matovu on the same page. I'm sure this is what Ezra is thinking, looking out at family and friends. Oh, how good it is to see everybody in one place, finally. It goes like this. If you went to Tuanga, it may be familiar. If not, sing it a few times.
Matovu, it's the morning. Matovu, bless us this morning. Ochela, let us enter. Yaakov, our heritage. We are searching, will you show us Israel? We are Israel. Born to sing your praises, your holy, holy spaces. Matovu, bless the morning. Matovu,
Matovu halai, Sarah mishkenotai, Rivka
Rachel v'Leah. Sing your praises in your holy, holy spaces. Matovu, bless the morning. Matovu.
One more time, that first line. Matovu, it's the morning.
Who bless us this morning? Halecha, let us enter. Yaakov, our heritage. Mishkenotecha. We are searching, will you show us Israel? We are Israel.
Beautiful voices. Thank you.
So welcome, Shabbat Shalom. Yay, we're all here together. Yay. So we gathered this morning to recognize Ezra for who he is and to officially welcome him into the adult Jewish community. Although I met Ezra in the fall of 2015 when I began working with his sister Eliana, I had the pleasure of hanging out regularly with Ezra beginning spring of 2019. Ezra was excited for his rite of passage and preparation to begin, and through my sessions with Ezra these past few years, I've seen how thoughtful, sensitive, friendly, bright, joyful, and curious Ezra is. Ezra's smile is infectious. He has a thirst for knowledge, a love of baseball and basketball, and a satiable appetite for roller coasters, Gordo's burritos, and food in general. With no formal Jewish study prior to our meetings, Ezra prepared for his bar mitzvah by participating in a chavruta, one of the oldest forms of Jewish study in which one has a partner or two with whom he or she studies with. In this style of learning, both partners serve as both teacher and student, exploring the material together. Ezra, you have been an excellent teacher. Dovetailing on the wisdom that has been imparted onto Ezra by his parents, Miranda and Yeshaya, and by larger family and friend celebrations, including Camp Kitov and Camp Tawanga, I added layers of Jewish knowledge and experience to process and helped put shape into what would be today's Jewish rite of passage for Ezra. We're happy to be here to congregate together, both in person and via live stream, and recognize that this may not be familiar to everyone. Ezra, Miranda, Yeshaya, they invite you to be present, participate, turn off your cell phones and other potentially distracting things, and to feel comfortable in the community we are creating today. The great Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav said, "Do not think that the words of prayer as you say them go up to the heavens and spirit above. It is not the words themselves that ascend. It is rather the burning desire of your heart that rises like smoke toward heaven. If your prayer consists only of words and letters and does not contain your heart's desire, how can it possibly rise up to the heavens?" This is not a show or performance with an audience to sit back and watch. We'll do some singing, and if the words get in the way, participate as you wish and join in, however you can. Today's service will be more joyful and meaningful if you participate. We will let you know afterwards how disappointed we were. On another note, if you or someone you love or someone you're responsible for has to get some wiggles out, needs to move about the cabin, or get a bit of fresh air, please feel free to step outside or retreat to the lobby. We have tried to ensure as much airflow as possible, but please feel free to do whatever you need to at any time to feel comfortable and safe. If you are Ezra's peer or between the ages of 12 and 16, this is not a hall pass. Just clarifying. I'd like to draw your attention to the Siddur, the prayer book, that Ezra and his parents have created with Miranda at the home, and Ezra's Nana's artwork on the cover. The prayers are in English, Hebrew, and transliteration to make participation more accessible. I invite you to make your own connections to the prayers and readings, And in hopes of creating a more freilich or joyful service and making it easier to participate, we are fortunate that Nathaniel Markman will be leading us in many of our songs and adding his musical talents to our ceremony. Not only is this a special Shabbat because it is Ezra's bar mitzvah, but we are amid the Yomim Noraim, the high holidays, high holy days, which means that today is Shabbat Shuvah. The word Shuvah is connected to the Hebrew word tshuva, return or repentance, which means that we are in an excellent position of making the change in our lives that we may have been putting off beginning now, during these 10 days of reflection and introspection. Ezra will now don the talit for the first time. Traditionally, the talit was worn by someone over the age of bar or bat mitzvah, whether they have had a formal ceremony or not, and represents wrapping oneself up in the Torah's 613 mitzvot. I had the honor of being with Ezra's Savta and Zaidi as they chose Ezra's talit in the artist section of Tzfat in Israel this past summer. I'd like to now invite Ezra's Nana, Papa, Savta, and Zaidi to officially present Ezra with his talit.
Remove our masks for this part of the ceremony. It's up to you to tell us. Okay, good. Okay. It's scripted, so.
Ezra, the talit represents the world. Four corners are the outer reaches of the known. Its fringes are the subtle teasing of the unknown. To stand wrapped in a talit is to take your place in the world.
Wrap yourself
In the talit, in the visions of Israel, our people.
Clothe
yourself in the mantle of ethical and spiritual responsibility. Find beauty in those you encounter on your journey. Be brave, facing what is yet to come. All this and the future too is your talit. May it grow in mitzvot and live in harmony with the world. That's the source. Okay.
Recalling the generations, I wrap myself in the talit. May my mind be clear, my spirit open, as I envelop myself in prayer. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lehitatef batzitzit.
Please join us in the community responsive readings for Ezra on page 4. And I invite, if it's your section, why don't you stand up so everyone can know who the grandparents and parents and cousins are. We continue on page 4. Go out and see, daughters and sons of Zion, the boy who has turned into a young man, a child who has become a son of Israel. Go out and see, daughters and sons of Zion, the boy who has turned into a young man, a child who has become a son of Israel.
I was blessed with you, my brother, as my love for you is not dependent on anything.
Go out and see, daughters and sons of Zion, the boy who has turned into a young man, a child who has become a son of Israel. Go out and see, daughters and sons of Zion, the boy who has turned into a young man, a child who has become a son of Israel. Go out and see, daughters and sons of Zion, the boy who has turned into a young man, a child who has become a son of Israel. Make your voice heard, for your voice is pleasant and your soul is beautiful. The Shechianu is a blessing to celebrate doing something for the first time or something that you have not done in a while or seen in a while. Today we are here to celebrate the first of Ezra becoming bar mitzvah. It is also the first time that we have all been together for a joyous occasion.
We begin with the traditional Shechianu, followed by a song version. On page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lasman hazeh. Appreciation.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu imanu vehigianu lazman hazeh.
Appreciation, gratitude, full-body acknowledgement of the blessings of the day, and mystery of how even amidst the chaos and unknown in the world, there is order. Counting our blessings is central, not only in Jewish prayer, but in Jewish daily life. There is no miracle too small or frequent that does not deserve the acknowledgement of its existence. We continue together with Hallelu Avdei Adonai, a song of praise that follows an alphabetical acrostic. This Jewish Iraqi tongue twister enumerates divine attributes of the Holy One. Its refrain is taken from the opening line of Psalm 113. My sister will join me.
So Eliana and I are going to go back and forth with this. Feel free to, if you don't want the tongue twister part, follow Eliana. Otherwise, you can try the verses. Here we go. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai, hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai, hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai, hallelujah, adir adirim adir mahulal Adonai, hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai, hallelujah, baruch baruchim baruch mahulal Adonai, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, gadol gadolim gadol mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, dagol dagolim dagol mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, hadir adirim hadir mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, hadir adirim hadir mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, vatik vatikim vatik mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, zakeh zakayim zakilahum mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, chanum chanunim chalum mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, tahot tahorim tahorot humal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, asher yasharim yashar mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, kabir kabirim kabir mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, mulmed lo medim lo dim mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Melechim melechim mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, nevo nevo nim nevo mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, somech somechim somech mahulal Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Adonai. Okay, faster? All right, here we go. If we're going faster, let's all get into it. Here we go. Hallelujah, 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 zero 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 mahula Adonai.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah,
Hallelujah, pode
Adonai.
pode impode mahula Adonai.
Hallelujah, 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 Adonai.
Tzadik tzadikim tzadik mahula Adonai.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah,
Hallelujah,
Adonai.
kadosh kadoshim kadosh mahula Adonai.
Hallelujah, 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 Adonai.
Rahman rahmanim rahman mahula Adonai.
Hallelujah, 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 Adonai.
Shomer shomerim shomer mahula Adonai.
Hallelujah, 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 Adonai.
Tomech tomechim tomech mahula Adonai.
Hallelujah, 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 Adonai.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah,
Adonai, hallelujah, 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 Adonai. Hallelujah, 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 Adonai.
Thank you, Eliana.
We have now completed our prayer warm-ups, songs and blessings that don't require full kavanah or intention. It is hoped that by the time one has reached the Baruch Hu, their mind, body, and soul have been roused and are ready to be in sync, functioning together with a focus on meaningful prayer. Up to now, we've been just getting in the mood. It's now time to fully focus on the task at hand.
The Baruch Hu invites us to think honestly about our lives and to reflect on the choices we make. It is literally a calling to worship. Please rise if you are able and join us in the Baruch Hu. We will begin with an instrumental prelude to the traditional Baruch Hu, directly followed with Yotzer Or on page 7. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach, Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Melech haolam, Yotzer Or Uvorei Hoshecha,
Oseh shalom uvorei et hakol.
I invite up cousins Tess Thorman and Ben Halbig to lead us in the Let Us Rejoice responsive reading, page 8. One of you guys can be here.
Please join us in the bolded sections. Let us rejoice in the light of day and the glory and warmth of the sun and the reawakening of life to duty and labor.
We rejoice in the light of day.
In the earth with its hills and vales, its widespread fields of grain, its fruit and hidden treasures.
We rejoice in the beauty of the earth.
In the strength to win our daily bread and in the homes where we find refuge from the cold and storm.
We rejoice in the shelter of home.
In the love of fathers and mothers who have nurtured our lives, with whose blessings we have gone forth to do our own work in the world.
We rejoice in the love of parents.
And the children who bless our homes, whose eager minds and hearts are the promise of tomorrow. We
Rejoice in our children.
In friends who share our sorrow and joys, in the fullness of the abundant life, in the serenity of old age.
We rejoice and will rejoice throughout the generations. Thank you. The Shema Ve'ahavta is a unique prayer and one of the few that is found in the Torah. In the Torah and some Sidurim, the first line of the Shema is penned in Hebrew Torah script, with the last letter of both the first and last words written larger than the others. This is, of course, on purpose.
In Hebrew, going beyond the words, every single letter and vowel is intentionally in a particular place. The line, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, notes the oneness of God, which in turn is the oneness of the universe. The two enlarged letters are the Ayin and Dalet, and together these two letters spell witness, indicating that just as our ancestors at Sinai recognized Adonai's oneness, that when we recite the Shema, we too, like those who stood at Mount Sinai, witness and affirm God's oneness and understanding that we are all connected. We now affirm with all our might through prayer and voice the oneness of the universe, our world, and our people. We sound out these words as deeply as we can. Once again, the power of sound penetrates us individually and fills the space between us. Shema means hear or listen. With the sound of the sh, the vibration of the and the resonance of the ah, we feel the power as it passes through us. Additionally, Ve'ahavta means and you shall love. While chanting the Ve'ahavta, I invite you to take a deep breath and think of someone who loves you. Focus on that feeling of love as we chant the Ve'ahavta.
Please join us in singing and then chanting the Shema on page 9, and then immediately following the Ve'ahavta, feel free to follow your tradition for this prayer.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher hi metzavcha hayom levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumeha kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. The Micha Mocha are words that our tradition tells us were sung when our ancestors crossed the Sea of Reeds. The astounding moment of awe and thanksgiving experienced by the Israelites upon the crossing of the Red Sea has parallels in all of our lives.
We have all had difficult crossings, experiences that we have struggled through. Yet, in spite of the pain that they may have caused us, completion afforded us a sublime sense of inner joy and peace. Take a moment to recall one of those times. Allow feelings of celebration to envelop you. Hold on to those feelings as we recite Micha Mocha on page 10.
Lai, lai, yai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, yai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh. Micha Mocha en Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilo osefele, Nora tehilo osefele. Yai, yai, yai,
You can clap, I know you can.
yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osefele, Nora tehilot osefele. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai.
We now arrive at the Amidah, an extended silent meditation. It is a time when we lead our own tefillah, our own prayer, as part of a bridge into the sacred space. The Amidah traditionally begins with an acknowledgement of our ancestors, Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, Rachel, and Leah. This acknowledgement reminds us that we are both connected as well as shaped by those who have come before us. And although one may walk in the same footsteps as our Jewish ancestors, our present-day Judaism is unique to us.
This is when we reflect and judge ourselves. We look at the past week and the week to come, at our place in history and ancestry. We consider our place in the continuity of humanity and universe. And in this time and space, we meditate on our own strength, the power of community, and the blessings of the earth. Traditionally, the Amidah consists of 7 prayers, opportunities for laying bare our most vulnerable private self, a powerful meditation in Jewish spiritual practice.
The opening of the Amidah calls to mind previous generations, near us as well as distant. We are connected to our ancestors, just as they found the strength to face the unknown physical and spiritual dangers of their journey. So, we speak to find the courage and inspiration to meet the challenges of our time.
Take a few moments to think about your parents, your grandparents, other relatives whom you've heard stories about. What is your connection to them? Together we recite the Amidah, beginning with Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, the Avot V'imaot, and continuing with the Gvurot. Since our Shabbat falls during the Yamim Noraim, the 10 days of awe, we include additional verses that are recited only on this special Shabbat Shuvah.
Following the Gevurot is the Kedusha and the responsive L'dor V'Ador. At the conclusion of L'dor V'Ador in our community prayer, we remain standing. You are invited to pursue and meditate on the selections provided throughout the Siddur. or take a few moments on your own silent thoughts.
When you have finished your own reflections, feel free to sit down, but please respect the quiet space for others until we come together again as a community. We will conclude this section by singing together a prayer for peace, a Shalom, in which Eliana will join us once again.
Please rise. We begin on page 11. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah Ve'Elohei Rachel Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Ve'konei Hakol Ve'zocher Hasdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Ge'ula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Ba'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Bezrat Sarah
Zochreinu lechayim melech hafetz b'chayim v'katvenu b'sefer chayim leman chalohim chayim.
Ata gibor le'olam Adonai mehayei hakol ata rav lechoshia morid hatal mechakel hayim behesed Mehayei hakol b'rachamim rabim Somech noflim ve'rafei holim Umatir asurim Umkayem emunato Lishenei afar Michamoha ba'al gevurot Umido melach Melech lemitum hayeh Umatmi yeshuach Ve'manata lehahayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol
Michamocha av harachamim zocher yitzurav l'chayim berachamim.
Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam Keshem shmakdishim oto bishmei marom kakatuv al yad nevieha vekarazeh el zeh ve'amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tsevaot Melech kol haaretz kevodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Madir Shimcha b'chol haaretz Baruch kevod Adonai
mimkomo.
Echad hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Vehu Yashmienu Berachamav le'enei kol hai Ani Adonai Elohechem Imloch Adonai le'olam Elochaich Tzion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador
Ledor vador,
Ledor Vador
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador Nagi Golecha Ledor Vador
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador Nagi Golecha Ulenetzah netzachim Kedushaten ha'hakdish Kedushaten ha'hakdish V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush Le'olam le'olam va'ed Ledor Vador
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador
ledor vador,
Ledor Vador Nagi Golecha Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador nagid golecha. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Say shalom. Bimromav. Oh, say shalom. Bimromav. Huya say, huya say. Huya say shalom. Huya say, huya say, huya say shalom. Huya say, huya say, huya say shalom. Aleinu. 1, 2, 3, 4. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down, bring peace down.
So if you want to sing along to this, bottom of page 13, here we go. Oh, say shalom. Bimromav. Oh, say shalom. Bimromav. Uya say, uya say, uya say shalom. Uya say, uya say, uya say shalom. Uya say, uya say, uya say shalom. Aleinu. 1, 2, 3, 4. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down, bring peace down. Beautiful.
We now begin our Torah service. The Torah is an ancient Hebrew scroll and a blueprint to life. It is meant to provoke through thought and discussion, to raise questions and serve as a guide for living one's life in a conscious and thoughtful manner. It is both seeped and everlasting traditions while also existing as an ever-evolving living document.
This Shabbat morning is Vayelech, the fourth to the last portion of the Torah, Devarim or Deuteronomy in English. Ezra will be laning or chanting from the Torah as family members and friends will be honored with an aliyah, reciting blessings before and after each Torah chanting.
In the Torah, there are no vowels, punctuation, or cantillation notes. A kosher Torah, like the one we are using today, is one that is suitable to be used for religious purposes. It's handwritten by a sofer, a Hebrew scribe, and made with sheepskin and intestines. No, the Torah is not vegan. Even more than the physical Torah itself, it is the essence of the Torah, and it is the content that we cherish. A yod, or pointer, is used to follow along in the Torah, to protect the parchment from the oils on one's fingers.
The ark is opened and the Torah is unveiled. Carefully and lovingly, we hold the Torah. We take a moment to appreciate the power and stability that the Torah has provided the Jewish people for thousands of years. Today's Torah is part of the vibrant Jewish community Ezra's Savta and Zaidi cultivated and nurtured, and the ark we are using today holds the memories of Ezra's family, or mishpacha, as this is the Aron HaKodesh that lived in Ezra's father Yeshaya's house when he was young. The Torah will be passed from Ezra's grandparents to parents and then to Ezra, demonstrating the continuity and responsibility of Torah from person to person and generation to generation to Ezra on this day.
After the Torah is passed through the generations, and among those who are gathered here today, the Torah is placed on a table. Readers will be called up for the first aliyah. Aliyah means to ascend or to go up to the bimah, to say the blessings before and after the reading of a section of the Torah.
The central symbol of becoming a bar mitzvah is when Ezra recites his first aliyah of Torah blessings. It is at this moment that Ezra is officially recognized as an adult in the Jewish community.
We rise when the ark is opened.
I'd like to invite up Ezra's parents, Miranda and Yeshaya, and Ezra's Nana, Papa, Savta, and Zaidi for the generational pass. We also invite up at this time cousins Juliet and Ruthie to open up the ark and unveil the Torah.
Please join us with Vihi, Bin Soa, page 16.
Vahi bin Soa ha'aron, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai ve'afutzu oivecha, ve'yanusu mesanecha, u'manecha, ki mitzion tzetzeh Torah, ki mitzion tzetzeh Torah, u'devar Adonai meYerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, u'devar Adonai. L'dor v'ador nakir kan lecha, l'dor v'ador we protect these chains from generation to generation. L'dor v'ador these lips will praise your name. L'dor v'ador nakir kan lecha, l'dor v'ador we protect these chains
from generation to generation. The door vador, these lips will praise your name.
In our tradition, our sacred tradition, we remember to recite the words from Pirkei Avot, the sacred teachings of our ancestors that Moses received the Torah from Adonai at Sinai and transmitted it to Joshua to the elders to the prophets to the members of the Great Assembly, and it was passed down through the ages, Lador Vador, generation to generation. And today it comes to you, Ezra, the newest member of the oldest ritual and spiritual community in the Western world.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Galul Adonai iti, umromema shemo yachdav.
Lecha Adonai chagidula v'chagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'chachon. Ki kol hashamayim u'va'aretz, ki kol bashamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai amlacha v'ninaseh lekol rosh. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ishtachavu, ve'ishtachavu lehad kodsho. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ishtachavu, ve'ishtachavu lehad kodsho. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ishtachavu lehad kodsho. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, le'ishtachavu lehad kodsho. Ki kadosh. Feel free to clap along with the Torah. Here goes. Yee, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Yee, hallelu, 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 hallelu. Kol Shema tehallelujah, hallelu, hallelujah. Kol Shema tehallelujah, hallelu, hallelujah, hallelu, 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 hallelujah, hallelujah.
We invite up friends Zach Sparks, Keanu Moss, and Julia Nicole to help us undress the Torah.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael, Melech Yisrael. Hai v'kayam, oy oy oy, siman, siman tov. Oy oy oy, mazel, mazel tov. Ay 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 lanu, bechol Yisrael. Amen. Yai 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 yai. Amen. Amen.
You may be seated.
And just for those of you that were not familiar with what we did, so the Torah went out in that processional to show that the Torah is not just for the people that are up here, but it is accessible to everyone. And that is one of our ways of just saying it's not a closed door thing. You could look at it at any time, you could see it, and we're going to be opening it up later for you to also see that we're not just saying things, it's written right there. We call up for the first Aliyah do Rishon, the Goldfarb family, Yodit Ruvain, Elishama Goldfarb and Casey Madison and Sandra Hawk, Yamdu, Ruvain Ben Shaya Cohen, Verizo, Yudit Adina Bat, Mosheva Yudit, Penina, Elishama, Hesed Ben Ruvain HaKohen, Yudit Adina, Chaya Shendo Bat, Brucefield, Susan, Daniel Ben Baruch, Ben Yudit Adina, Yamdu, Rishon. Could you put the
Nice to see it done properly.
around you? There's two of them there, so two of you could share.
Okay. Where are we? Yeah, okay. Touch the fluff spot with my tongue. That's all.
Do you understand?
Okay. Ready?
Ready.
You want touch it or not? Baruch hu et Adonai hamarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, hein, karvu yamecha lamot, kerag Yehoshua, vehiyatu belhel moed ve'atzavenu. Vayelech Moshe v'Yehoshua vayatu Belhel Moed. Vayera Adonai באוהל בעמוד ענן, ויעמוד עמוד הענן על פתח האוהל. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, הנך שוכב עם אבותיה, וקם העם הזה וזנח אחרי אלוהי נכר הארץ, אשר הוא ושמח בקרבו, ועזב אני והפר את בריתי, אשר קראתי איתו, וחרה אפי בו ביום ההוא, ועזבתי והסתרתי פני מהם, והיה לכו ומצאוהו רעות רבות וצרות, ואמר ביום ההוא, הלא על כי אין אלוהי בקרבי, מצאוני הרעות האלה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We call up for the second Aliyah Yamdu, Shani, the Thurman Snyder family, Dina Snyder, Michael Thurman, Adam Thurman, and Caitlin Ketchum Yamdu, Dina Batlia, Ruth Abraham Yuda, Michael Ben Binyamin, Ruvain Verachel, Adam Ben Michael Vedina, the Caitlin Yamdu, Shani.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarah.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vanochi astir panai bayom hahu al kol hara'a asher asa ki fana Elohim acharim vaz achareh ואתה כתבו לכם את השירה הזאת, ולמדת בני ישראל שמע בפיהם, למען תהיה לי השירה הזאת לעד בבני ישראל. כי אבינו אל האדמה אשר נשבעתי לאבותיו, זבת חלב ודבש, ואכל וסבב את השן, ופנה אל אלוהים אחרים ועבדום, וניאצוני והפר את בריתי. והיה כי תמשנה אותו רעות רבות וצרות. השירה הזאת לפניו לעד, כי לא תשכח מפי זרעו, כי ידעתי יתרו אשר הוא עושה היום בטרם אבינו אל הארץ אשר נשבעתי.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam natan b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We call up for the third Aliyah, the proud parents and sister, Yishai, Miranda, and Eliana Yamdu, Mirabat, Michael, Vadina, Yishai, Simcha, Ben Ruvena, Cohen, Yehudi, Tadina, Eliana, Devorah, Bat, Mira, Yishai, Simcha, Yamdu, Shlishi.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ויכתוב משה את השירה הזאת ביום ההוא, וילמדת בני ישראל, ויצב יהושע בן נון, ויאמר חזק ואמץ, כי אתה תביא את בני ישראל אל הארץ אשר נשבעתי לכם, ואנוכי אהיה עמך. ויהי ככלות משה לכתוב את דברי התורה הזאת על ספר עד תומם. ויצב משה את הלוויים נושא ארון ברית אדוני לאמור, לקוח את ספר התורה הזה ושמתם אותו מצד ארון ברית אדוני אלוהיכם, והיה שם בך לעד.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And then you're going to make an Ezra sandwich, so one of you should be on either side. All right, let's have a little drum roll. We call up Ezra the Bar Mitzvah Yamor, Ezra Yaakov Ben Rav Yishai Simcha Yamor HaMaftir. Upon reaching the age of Bar Mitzvah, may Adonai guide you and sustain you and grant you peace. And we say Amen. Okay, so first you're going to take the yod and you're going to point. Use your yod.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Remember, we need that. Hakilu elai et kol ziknei shivtechem v'shotrehem v'adabra v'oznehem et hadvarim ha'elech v'aida bam et hashamayim v'ta'aretz ki adati acharei moti ki chashet tashitun v'sartem min haderech asher tziviti etchem v'krat etchem hara b'acharit hayamim ki ta'asu et hara be'enei Adonai lehachiso b'maaseh yedeihem. Vaydaber Moshe be'oznei kol kehal Yisrael et divrei hashira hazot ad tumam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'hayei olam nata v'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
All right, how are you feeling now?
Good.
Okay, good. Take a deep breath. Good, all right. Stay down here. Grab your thing. Prayer can transform fear into faith and hopelessness into hope. So we pray. Some people have been praying all their lives, and so it comes naturally. Others only recognize the importance of prayer when they are in crisis or in need. The beauty of prayer is that it is never too late. We pray, we call upon Adonai for courage and strength when we don't have enough to get us through on our own. We call upon the infinite universe, Mother Nature or Shekhinah, for renewal of body and spirit, for blessings and healing. We call upon Ein Sof because that is what we Jews have been doing all of our lives, with or without a formal Mishaberach prayer.
There is a tradition that says that when the Torah, our most sacred Jewish ritual object, is out, the heavens are even more open to hear what's more important in our hearts. Some say that the transmission of our prayers is more steadfast in reaching the heavens above when we are in physical contact with the Torah.
Our Mishaberach prayer for healing will be a song written by Debbie Friedman. We will begin chanting the first section together and then pause the lyrics. If there's a name of someone you're thinking of that you'd like to share, someone who needs healing in whatever form, as I make eye contact with you, please call out their name so we can include them in our prayer. Once everyone who wishes to share a name has had the opportunity, we will continue with the second section together. Ezra's family is particularly thinking of anyone in particular? Okay. Please join us.
Misheberach avotenu mikor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage, make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. מי שברך אמותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I'd like to invite up for Hagba and Galila Yeshaya to lift the Torah, and friends Reed and Clay Zitto and Arvin Parmeswaran to help dress the Torah. Yamod Yeshaya Simcha ben Ruvain HaKohen Yodi Tadina. We won't exactly be lifting it. It's a little bit more fragile.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
You have to set that up. You can put it underneath it. Put it underneath it.
Shalom, shalom.
make it move.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom.
But you want to put
Shalom, shalom. Etzhaim chilema chazikim ba v'tovea meushar etzhaim chilema chazikim ba v'tovea meushar.
put it right on.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, pull it right
Is
down.
the tree of life to those who will fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is the tree of life to those who will fast. Thank you. And all of its supporters are happy. Last time, here we go. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom.
Lifting of the Torah. It's all right. It's all good. Yeah, we're going to go back up. Candy. Candy is what brings us together today. And now for Ezra's thoughts on this week's Torah portion. At the conclusion of Ezra's drash, his Dvar Torah, please join me in standing and congratulating Ezra by singing Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov as we gently, underhand, shower him with multicolored sun-kissed fruit gems that are quietly being passed out now by Eliana, Emmy, and Tavi Greenfield, and Eleanor and Kate Zaragoza Aaron. Before Ezra begins his drash, please refrain from eating the tempting non-fat, gluten-free, dairy-free, peanut-free, corn syrup and sugar heavy, lots of sugar and corn syrup that all pretty much taste the same regardless of which color you get. So those are not going to be, so what I'm going to ask is when you get it, don't crinkle them, just put them in a place where they won't crinkle during the drash. No, you get to go up, you get to go up, you go up, you go up. You go. No, you're going up.
Candy, candy. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yeah.
This one. It's okay.
Yeah. Looks
Yeah,
like
it's fine.
folks
Okay.
are ready for the Dvar Torah, I see. Everyone's got their candy?
Yeah.
Almost? We'll sing this one more time for Ezra, just to bring us together. Here we go. Shalom, shalom, cha 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 cha. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom. He wanted more. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. All right, take your candies and just put them in your laps. Shalom.
Yeah, okay. Okay, here we go. Vayelech begins at the banks of the river Jordan, where the people of Israel are listening to Moses as he says, I am 120 years old today. God has told me that I shall not pass over into the promised land. Deuteronomy 31:2. Joshua will continue to lead you once you enter the land of Israel. Moses tells Joshua to be strong and to trust God. Moses gives the same teaching that he told Joshua to the elders and priests, and tells them, at the end of 7 years, on the Festival of Huts, when all Israel comes to see itself directly before the presence of God, you shall read this teaching in the presence of Israel. God then tells Moses that his death is nearing, and to call Joshua to the tent of meeting to discuss his duties. God appears in a pillar of smoke and tells Moses, your time is up. Soon after you die, your people will stray from me and break my covenant. This will frustrate me, and I will let the Israelites fend for themselves. Then he teaches Moses a song that is a witness between God and the Israelites. God tells Joshua to be strong and that he will be with him. Vayelech ends with Moses teaching the Israelites the song. Now let's take a step back. Moses has led the Israelites through a lot. He helps them get out of Egypt, parted the Red Sea, goes out Mount Sinai twice to get the commandments, and leads them across the desert for over 40 years. But he isn't allowed to enter the Promised Land. I want all of you to think for a minute and put yourself in Moses' shoes. Imagine doing all of that work but not being able to enter the land Moses was instructed to bring the Israelites to decades ago. It's like planning a huge summer vacation for your family, and you're about to get on the plane, but security stops you and says, everyone else can go but you. Now let's go all the way back to Parshat Hukat, Numbers chapter 20. God tells Moses to speak to a rock, and that will provide water for the people to drink. But Moses hits the rock instead. As a punishment, God tells Moses that he cannot cross the river Jordan into Israel. It is a little extreme, but many classic commentators, such as Rashi, Nachmanides, Maimonides, and Ibn Ezra, address the rock, staff, water incident soon after leaving Egypt. The Israelites complain to Moses that they are thirsty. Moses tells God, who instructs Moses to speak to the rock to get water. A few explanations the rabbis give regarding the issue are that the specific rock Moses was supposed to speak to rolled away, so Moses spoke to the wrong rock. That then Moses' actions desecrated God in front of all of Israel. Moses' impatience with the Israelites by angrily striking the rock, and that Moses simply didn't do what he was instructed to do. I understand what the rabbis say Moses did, and that there are consequences for his actions of striking the rock instead of speaking to it. But I think it's overlooking that Moses did not give up. Remember, this incident happened while they were still in the outskirts of Egypt. Therefore, Moses knew he wasn't going to be able to cross the river Jordan ever since they started, and could have said, if I can go to the Promised Land, then I'm not going to attempt to get you guys to the Promised Land. You guys are on your own. Instead, Moses continues to lead the people to a place he was never going to be able to go, and he did a really good job of getting the Israelites to Israel. If I were Moses, I would not have been happy. Moses could have left and never returned, or decide to ignore God and cross the river Jordan anyway. Instead, Moses helps the people get to Israel and helps God pass the torch to Joshua. All of this shows that Moses truly does care about his people and would do anything for them. He truly is a great leader. In sports, there are times you know you're going to lose, like last season when the Warriors lost by 30 to the Nets in the first game of the season in Brooklyn. Instead of giving up for the rest of the season, because of that one game, they kept fighting and made the playoffs. Sometimes you know you're going to lose, but you still give 100% instead of giving up and letting yourself lose. Now, let's talk about Joshua. Joshua is the son of Nun of the tribe of Ephraim. He is chosen as one of the 12 scouts to check out the Promised Land 40 years prior in the Torah portion Shalach Lecha. And upon his return, he is one of the 2 scouts who give the Israelites a thumbs up to venture into Israel, proving his trust in God and the Israelites. Joshua stands up for Moses when the people doubt him and leads the people in battle during their wanderings in the wilderness. Joshua is a natural-born leader, trusts God, and is fit to lead the Israelites. However, Moses has 2 sons, Gershon and Eleazar. So why doesn't Moses appoint one of his sons to continue to lead the people? That's what I would have expected. Based upon classic Midrashim, Moses does assume that one of his sons will lead after he dies. Early rabbinic commentators discuss Moses' debate with God in Leadership Transmission in Midrash B'Midbar Rabbah 21:16. Moses is worried that his sons won't be successful and argues with God, saying that he should be able to pass his leadership on to his family. God responds to Moses, "Your sons are lazy and don't practice the Torah. However, Joshua does, and he idolizes you. Joshua even cleans the room where the children learn from you. For those reasons, Joshua should be chosen over your sons. Medieval French commentator Rashi explains that Aaron's son, Pinchas, Moses' nephew, is also up for debate to be the new leader. Pinchas demonstrates his loyalty to God and Moses when he murders an Israelite who breaks the covenant by worshiping another god. However, Pinchas shows no self-control and takes quick, careless, and violent actions. The fact that everyone related to Moses is not worthy of being a leader proves that leadership should be earned, not inherited. People that think something will be handed to them just because of their parents are more likely to slack off, whereas if there is someone who has a goal and works hard to get better, they will more likely have the skills to make them a better leader. When I heard about the 2019 college admissions scandal, where parents paid for their kids to do well on tests just to get into a good college, even though the students didn't earn their way into the school, I was shocked that any parent would ever do this. To go behind a kid's back to have them get into a school is extremely messed up. When parents use money or status to get their children into better schools and not merit, that is not right by any means. Eventually, Moses decides that Joshua should become the leader because he's willing to lead his people into battle, whereas other leaders just sit back and let their people do the fighting. Unlike Pinchas, he is not careless and does not take violent actions without thinking. Joshua has the right criteria. He is kind, has a sensitive heart, and is willing to learn from others. At the end of the day, he is just overall a good leader. But what if Moses had chosen someone else? What if Moses had chosen one of his sons, Gershon or Eliezer? Who knows if the Judaism we know today would be the same? Gershon and Eliezer might not have been ready because they haven't practiced enough. But at this point, all we can say is what if. One aspect of my bar mitzvah preparation is tikkun olam, literally fixing the world, or often translated as community service. I care a lot about basketball, and I have played from a young age. Every winter from 2nd grade to 6th grade, I play in AYB, Alameda Youth Basketball. It is the first and only basketball league I've ever played in. AYB helped me improve my basketball skills, but I also developed leadership skills, how to be a team player, and how to handle losing playoff games, like how I lost my second playoff game all 5 years. As you can see, AYB is a very important program to me, and that is why I'm giving back. I want to help kids that don't have the resources to play in an organized league like me, so that they can advance their basketball and life skills like I did. Due to COVID, I have not been able to do my intended project. However, as soon as COVID lets me, I will organize a fundraiser, basketball 3-on-3 tournament with skills competitions to raise money for AYB. I am hoping it will happen this year, so stay tuned. Tzedakah, loosely translated as charity and traditionally, 10% of one's earnings is also a central theme of Judaism. I think that climate change is a very important issue because if we don't do something about it soon, we may not have a planet to live on in 75 years. That's why I am choosing to donate my tzedakah to an organization called Dayenu, a Jewish call to climate action. Their mission is to secure a just, livable, and sustainable world for all people for generations to come by building a multi-generational Jewish movement that confronts the climate crisis with spiritual audacity and bold political action. The money I donate will support their work, mobilizing Jewish support for climate policy, political action, and campaigning to end financial support for the fossil fuel industry. Thank you to all of you who have come today from all over to be here. It means a lot to me. Thank you to my parents for putting this all together. I could not have done it without you. Thank you for Nathaniel for playing the music today. And lastly, thank you to Sasha for helping me on this journey. I could not have done it without you. Shabbat Shalom.
So if you have that candy, here we go. 5, 6. Wait, hold on. Ezra, you ready?
No.
Ezra's not ready.
I'm ready.
He's ready. 3, 2, 1. Hey!
Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov, Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov, Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov, Yehelanu.
Here we go.
Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov.
Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov.
If you are under the age of 5, come on up and grab something. If you're under the age of 5. Yehelanu, you can bring your parent if you need to. L'chol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, L'chol Yisrael. If you're under the age of 10, you can come up and grab something.
Yehelanu, Yehelanu. That's you.
If you are young at heart, come on up and grab something.
There's only hundreds of pieces of candy up here, so.
So yes, don't run over anybody though.
Mazel
Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov, Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov, Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov, Yehelanu, 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 L'chol Yisrael. Share with your friends if you got more than one. La 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 la
Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov, Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov, Simmen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simmen Tov.
Yehelanu.
So if anyone needs a cleanup in their backyard, that was pretty quick.
You may be seated.
Maybe seated.
All right, so and if you happen to take like more than 2, but you have a friend near you that didn't get any, be nice and share. Okay, so this is actually my favorite part because this is when I get to say some words to you, Ezra. So I'm going to move it back so I can look at you and people at the same time. How are you feeling?
Good.
Excellent. All right. Good job. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to get to know you these past few years. We've had some thoughtful and serious discussions and some good laughs. And I appreciate your interest in learning about your heritage and preparing for our service today. And I know that this is only part of your Jewish journey into young adulthood and not the last. Ezra, you're a young man with great intellect, creativity, and ingenuity. Your heart is big and your smile is wide. Your socks are often white. Despite a few bumps here and there, you stayed your course. As I was writing this, I envisioned what the setting for our ceremony might look like, and I began to think about the Torah portion that we've been studying today, Vayelech. As you mentioned in your drash, Adonai has one of his final conversations with Moses before instructing him to bring over his successor, Joshua, so he can speak with him. Vayelech addresses transitions of leadership, the concerns that Adonai has with his relationship with the Israelites in the future, and some special teachings and songs for the people as a final send-off. There are a lot of directions that you could have gone, but what struck you the most in Vayelech was the fact that Moses was not allowed to enter the promised land after schlepping the people along and putting up with the Israelites' shenanigans for 40 years. It bothered you that he was right there at the edge of the Jordan River and could even see the place where God was bringing the people, but he was not allowed to enter. Moreover, the fact that Moses had known for a long time, pretty much the entire journey, that this would be the case left you slightly puzzled. You wondered why Moses continued to lead the people with such dedication once he was informed that he would not be allowed to travel with them, only so far. In our sessions, you brought up some pointed questions and concerns. You were frustrated on Moses' behalf, and at the same time, you were in awe with how Moses remained a faithful leader for all those years, never letting the knowledge of his future affect his present leadership and care for his people. You felt strongly that God should have let Moses lead to the end, at least step a foot into the land the people were promised. If you remember Moses' first introduction to Adonai in Parshat Shemot of Exodus, Moses is a shepherd and notices a bush that is burning but not being consumed. From that moment onward, Moses' life is forever changed. Classic Midrashim suggests that Moses was chosen to lead God's people out of Egypt and to the promised land, because Adonai observed how as a shepherd, Moses cared for all his sheep equally and didn't let even one of them become the meal to another animal, demonstrating compassion at Moses' core, and therefore a very fitting leader for the arduous journey ahead. The fact that you are able to recognize Moses' continued contributions and steadfast leadership, even up to the moment he needs to train the new guy, Joshua, says a lot about you as well. You were able to notice and acknowledge what Moses had done for the people and how he graciously stepped aside when it was time for him to retire. Being able to notice, acknowledge, and appreciate what others do for you or even for others is a really important superpower. Actually, when it comes down to it, that's kind of the point of all these Jewish blessings, to take a moment, stop, acknowledge, and appreciate, so that we can become compassionate, grateful, and caring individuals. What I would like you to take away from these few years of unfamiliar study is to continue to notice, acknowledge, and appreciate what others do both for you as well as around you. And let those individuals know that you see them. You may be only 13, but even a 13-year-old can positively and even profoundly contribute and change the world. It's easy to speak about the things we read or study, but it will be important in your life to integrate things you learn to put into action to make a better world. Your decision to create a fundraiser for AYB demonstrates your appreciation for their sports program and acknowledging the impact the program had on you, and therefore encourage you to assist in making it accessible to others for a similar positive experience. Another point I'd like to address is family. It is clear that you enjoy and appreciate your family. However, family is not a given. Family time is not a given. It takes planning, it takes effort, it takes compromising, sometimes lots of driving. It takes time, and it takes sacrifices. And it takes interest in carving that time out to be together. The gift of spending quality time together is one of the ways that your parents are helping to prepare you for your future, just like Moses helped to prepare the Israelites, whether it's how to manage your time or how to treat others fairly. L'dor vador, generation to generation, this is how and why you are standing exactly where you are right now. The passing down, the passing along, the many roots that connect you to the forest of people that I see here today. Look at your forest. Look at your community. Today, Ezra, you are picking fruits of the trees. You can keep looking that way. Yeah. Now it's looking at them time. You're picking the fruits and trees that your ancestors have planted for you, and at the same time, you are planting new seeds and creating new traditions that your generations to come will glean, grow, and derive great comfort and joy in. So I know you're feeling good about today, and believe me, you should. Preparing for your bar mitzvah required a lot of time and effort, and there are many weeks where you felt you weren't quite making the progress you had hoped, especially more recently when it came to weekly revising your drash, which I might add resulted in a job well done. Some of the method and process that we focused to get to this place were unfamiliar, And I hope that these roadblocks, traffic circles, and detours that were along the path to be here today will be rejoiced. They were part of your journey so that you would be exposed to other ways of thinking about things and encourage you to open and stretch your mind and be thoughtful and curious about the world. All things in life should be more than getting to our destination. It should also be about the journey. Often, some of the most important growing moments are in a car on the way to school or an activity, chatting with a stranger on the plane on the way to a holiday getaway, if you're allowed to be on a plane, or really taking the time to notice something that you've never seen before as you make your way around your neighborhood. Always remember to step back, notice the small things, and be proud of your finished product after the roundabout journey it took to get there. I admire you and hold you in great respect for the choices you have made in bringing you to this day. You are deserving of all the kudos and blessings. So in a moment, we'll be reciting the priestly blessing. But before I do, I'd like to ask your parents, Miranda and Yeshai, to stand where you are. And Ezra, look at your parents. Look into the eyes of your mom, into the eyes of your dad. True, you are technically an adult in the Jewish tradition, held accountable for observing the mitzvot, the commandments, but in truth, you are in transition to become an adult. And in the next phase of your life, you will continuously have to make difficult choices. When you are making some of those choices, I want you to remember the look of pride that is in your parents' eyes right now, at this moment, and how it makes you feel. You're still looking at them. Don't look at me. When you want to make a decision that may seem unfavorable to your peers, remember this look in your parents' eyes. When you're about to make a choice that is questionable, remember this look of unconditional love in your parents' eyes and on their face. Let the pride on behalf of your parents be your go-to when you need to check yourself. We are all human, and we make mistakes and poor choices. But remembering this gaze from your parents will help keep you on track when you didn't even know you were drifting away. So I'd like to invite your parents to come up now. And we're going to be reciting the priestly blessing. Usually I do it in physical contact, but for COVID reasons, we're going to let the parents be the conduits. So the priestly blessing, which is dated to about 3,500 years ago and given by Aaron, the first high priest, to his children, it was not merely spoken, but it's transmitted physically. There's a physical and spiritual aspect to everything. So this is not from me, but through us, you might say. You could be more center if you want. You don't have to look at me. I'm just going to recite things. And with following the COVID, we're letting the parents do it. So I'm inviting the community to say Ken Yehi Ratzon when it is time. So first, please put your hands on Ezra's shoulders. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. Please place your hands on his neck. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha ve'chuneka. And make contact with his forehead. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom. May the blessings of God be upon you. May God's peace abide in you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. And now for the parents' blessings.
Ezra, your name means helper, and from the day you were born, you have exemplified the many meanings of that word. One way that you help is in your deep attunement to how those around you are feeling. When you were a baby, before you could even talk, you could sense when there was tension in a room, and you would do something funny to make us laugh, to break that tension. As you have gotten older, you have continued to play that role of peacemaker and caretaker. If there is an argument in our house, perhaps between your parents and your sister sometimes, or your parents, you will step in to remind one of us to listen to what the other person is saying. You genuinely ask how our days were, and you always make sure there is gluten-free food for me to eat when we go out, probably because you don't want to deal with a hangry mom. I can always rely on you to step in to help make me feel better, with a hug, a good talk, or by watching one of our favorite shows together. Another way you demonstrate your ability to help is in the ways you show up as a teammate. You are a great athlete, and you put so much time and effort into developing your individual skills and your individual performance. But I know that you care as much about your team and how you're supporting your team as you do your individual goals. You always acknowledge your teammates' successes and cheer everyone on. You are the one who is the first out of the dugout to give a high five to congratulate someone or a pat on the back when someone had a rough inning. You have that unique quality that great coaches like Steve Kerr and Bruce Bochy have, of making everyone on the team feel like essential contributors, from the bench players to the all-stars. Your teachers have also always shared with us that you are a great teammate at school as well. You are always willing to help your classmates, and you are the guy that other people want to work with. Now, this one might be a little bit of a stretch, but I am pretty positive that your passionate support for your favorite teams has helped the Giants and Warriors win a collective 6 world championships in your lifetime. And helped those teams and the 49ers make the playoffs or championship series many other times in the last 13 years. You are the absolute most fun person to watch a sports game with, maybe except for Dave Nickel back there. Your enthusiasm knows no bounds and is absolutely contagious. I am sure that the energy you generate as you root for your teams has helped Curry, Draymond, Posey, Crawford, and many others make the plays to get those trophies. As you have matured and learned more about history and the world, you have continued to demonstrate that deep care you have for others and your desire to help make the world a better place. You have always shown an interest in understanding what happened in the past and how people have overcome challenges and fought for justice. I have no doubt that whatever you choose to do with your life, you will always use your privilege to help others make the world a more just and sustainable place. Ezra, I am so proud to be your mom. You are such a loving, caring, passionate, funny, smart, talented, and beautiful person. You have grown so much over the last 2 years. You're not quite taller than me, but you will be soon. And you've grown through the process of studying for your bar mitzvah. And today you are here in front of our community of friends and family to show them what an incredible young man you are becoming. I hope that you never get too old to randomly spout nonsense words, to laugh with abandon, to wrestle with Milo and Daddy, to give me big hugs, and to lose your voice cheering for your team. I hope that you always remember that we love you no matter what. We will be here for you when you make mistakes and experience disappointment, and to celebrate you in your moments of success and joy. I love you so much.
When you were born, I knew I would love you and support you, no matter your interests, personality, and path. It would be okay if you liked building model trains, or playing with Legos, or going shopping, over baseball or board games. It would be okay if you preferred Best Coast burritos over Gordo's burritos, or Wheel of Fortune over Survivor. It would be okay if you liked the Dodgers over the Giants. It would. Absolutely would. Funny thing happened as you grew. You started loving similar things that I loved and gave me the gift of experiencing all those things again through your eyes in a deeper way. And of course, right near the top of your list of loves is baseball. From the moment you could walk, talk, hold a ball or a bat, you were in. From the beginning, you have loved watching baseball on TV, in person, or in a dugout. Your love, talking about it, announcing it, cheering, dancing, yelling for it, and of course, playing it, both in normal speed and in slow motion. I believe it is your pure joy for baseball that attracted a longtime friend, colleague, and mentor of mine, Joe Amalfitano, to you and you to him. Ezra has come with me for a week every spring training since he was young. Every time Joey and Ezra saw each other, they would smile. Joey would give Ezra signs to remember and act out. Bunt, steal, hit and run. In January, Joey retired at the age of 67 after 67 years in professional baseball. He had a front row seat on the Giants bench when Willie Mays made the catch in the New York Giants 1954 World Series. He was a glue player for 10 years in the major leagues, followed by a long, distinguished coaching career. Needless to say, before meeting Ezra, Joey had seen a lot of baseball and had worked with a lot of players. During his time in the game, Joey grew to believe there are three qualities that, as Joey would describe it, make a winning ball player. The three qualities are, number one, aptitude and retention. Number two, being a competitor with joy, passion, and energy. Number three, being a good teammate. As I think about those qualities, I realize they are you, both as a baseball player and as a person. Number one, aptitude and retention. In T-ball, you're playing left field, and a kid hit a ground ball to you and ran very slowly to first base. You picked up the ball and made the right play by throwing it all the way to the first baseman, hitting the unsuspecting first baseman in the chest. A number of years later, in Nolsol, this happened again. A kid rounded third base too far, and you threw the ball behind him, hitting one of your good friends in the face with a perfect throw because you saw the play develop before he did. During a fifth grade AYB basketball game, after you made the buzzer beater three-pointer to send the game into overtime, the opposing team had an inbound pass with 2 seconds left, down by 1. You were guarding the inbounder, and I turned to my fellow coach, Mike, who's here today, and said, "Watch, Ezra is going to tip this pass." It was a hunch because I had seen you do it a number of times earlier in the season. Sure enough, you tipped it. Game over. On the drive home, I asked you, "How did you do it?" You said you were reading the inbounder's eyes and that I had told you that trick months earlier. That is aptitude and retention, even if your coach doesn't remember teaching you it. One of my favorite things to do is to ask you about an at-bat or a pitch or a defensive stop when what you are seeing on the field or court, because you often see things I am not seeing. As a student, you are becoming the teacher. As you have grown, your aptitude and retention abilities keep expanding to all parts of your life. You are a quick learner, have many talents that you have not even scratched the surface of. I feel lucky to continue to have a front row seat to witness all that you are becoming. Number two, being a competitor with joy, passion, and energy. Ezra, I love the joy, passion, and energy you bring to everything you enjoy doing. It is truly infectious. If you have never watched a sporting event or concert or been in the heat of competition on a court with Ezra, it is an experience in itself. The focus, the edge, the selflessness, the intelligence, the energy with an occasional flex, will to win, belief in your team and yourself is unique in who you are. Those around you feel it and feed off of it. I don't have enough fingers or toes to count the number of parents or coaches who have told me they love watching you play. It is not necessarily because of the skills you bring, usually as one of the better players on the team, but because of how hard you are competing with joy, passion, and energy. Number 3, being a good teammate. During a baseball tournament in June, a parent came up to me to tell me what a good teammate you are. Constantly rooting, often loudly, for everyone on your team. Being there to congratulate successes and pat players on the back when they strike out or commit an error. In July, during your 2-week Warriors baseball camp, you won the Sportsmanship Award. Basketball camp. You won the Sportsmanship Award for attitude and respect you show others. These are just 2 of the most recent examples of the type of teammate you are. I know being a good teammate is important to you, and going beyond and keeping energy and confidence of your teammates is high. I see you being purposeful about it, sharing pitches you saw in your at-bats with hitters coming up next, and sharing weaknesses an opponent shows, or noticing when a teammate is improving at something. You wisely understand that playing your best in a team sport takes everyone. It is a joy watching you interact with your teammates and how they interact with you. I joked earlier, I would have loved you just as much if you were a fan of the Dodgers. And I was not kidding. It runs in your family. As Zadie grew up in Brooklyn, it is part of family lore that at the age of 10, your grand uncle Jerry, who you're named after, threw a chair across the room in anger when Bobby Thompson hit the shot heard around the world. As your dad, me, at the age of 10, was painfully in a house full of Dodger fans when Kirk Gibson hit his famous World Series home run. What I didn't know that day is on the field was Joe Amalfitano. He was the third base coach for the Dodgers. And as he tells it, when Gibby rounded third base, he gave Joey a high five and said, "Backdoor slider," which was the pitch Dodgers advanced scout Mel Didier told the team that A's pitcher Dennis Eckersley would throw in a full count versus a left-handed hitter. Gibby took what he learned 12 hours earlier and used it to hit one of the most famous home runs in history on one leg. So Ezra, on and off the court or the field, may you always have the aptitude and retention of Kirk Gibson. Ezra will tell you the greatest baseball player of all time is Willie Mays. What separates him from the great players was this competitive joy, passion, and energy he played the game with. May you always approach life and play games with the same joy, passion, and energy as Willie Mays. Talking about greatness, one thing I failed to mention about Joe Amalfitano is inside the game, many consider him one of the greatest third base coaches of all time. What made him great was the teammate he was. He built trust with the manager and the players to the point that each player had a different set of signs. And he would give body language and enthusiasm to the players on the field by how he coached third base. As a player, he knew by purposefully being a good teammate, even while not playing, he could make his team better as well. On April 30th, 1961, which is coincidentally Zadie's birthday, he was 16, Willie Mays arrived at the stadium sick and sat down next to Joey, who was his locker room teammate. Joey asked Willie, "How do you feel? Are you 1% or 100%? Willie said, "Maybe 70%. Joey responded, "Your 70% is better than anyone who's going to play 100%. Why don't you try my extra heavy bat during batting practice?" He used it and felt good and told the manager he could play. That game, Willie hit 4 home runs. Similar to Joey, may you always be a good teammate to people in your life and teams that you play on. Because of COVID, 2021 was the first time you didn't come to spring training with me, and because of retirement, 2021 was the first year I did not see Joey at spring training. I missed you both quite a bit. While I was there, I missed you both quite a bit, particularly the banter and the connection you developed over the years. I am not sure if it was the fact that you're a Jewish left-handed baseball player or he sees the qualities in you that he holds in such high regard. But a few years back, Joey sent me a package with a note in it, and I want to show that to you. Here's the note. It says, Yeshaya, don't let him play with this baseball. Give it to him when it is appropriate. So, along with this note was a signed ball from a dear friend of Joey, Sandy Koufax. When looking at this ball, may you always be reminded of the three qualities that make you special and unique: aptitude and retention, being a competitor with joy, passion, and energy, and being a good teammate. I love you.
I'd like to invite up Juliet and Ruthie to open the ark. Wait, no, to close the ark.
Well, to both. It's
To
gonna be
both. Yeah,
to
okay.
both.
Please rise as we return the Torah. Sing Etz Chaim, He, and Elena.
Chaim hilema chazikim ba v'torah meushar etz chaim hilema chazikim ba v'torah meushar Shalom 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 shalom, shalom, shalom.
We continue with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula liotze breshit, shelo asana kegoye aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo samchokenu kahem, vegoralenu kechol hamonam, V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz v'yom hahu Vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
You may be seated. Yeah. I invite up our friends Mike Zittel and Tiffany Edwards for a reading.
And then compassion will be wedded to power. And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle. And then both women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will. And then all will be rich and free and varied.
And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will cherish life's creatures. And then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again.
Even in times of celebration, we always take a moment to remember those who are no longer with us today.
In a moment, we will recite the traditional mourner's Kaddish. Kaddish Yatome.
If there is anyone who you would like us to remember, please call out their names as my hand goes around so we can include them in our prayer. Ezra and his family are particularly thinking of Leah Snyder, Richard Snyder, Rutherford Poates, Bert and Rose Thorman, Miriam Blumenfeld, Sam and Rolla Goldfarb, Gerald Goldfarb, Morris, and Juliet Lowenthal. If there's anyone else who would like to add to this.
Immediately following the mourner's Kaddish, we will join together for a responsive reading. We remember them, led by cousins Noah, Ben, and Eli Snyder, who I invite to come up at this time. If you are in mourning, observing a yard site, or would like to stand in solidarity with the mourners, please rise.
Kadash Shemei Rabbah Bi'ama Divra Chirte Bi'amlich Malchute B'chayechon U'vyomechon U'b'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala U'bizman Kariv V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam U'lamei Amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shmei D'Kudsha V'yichu Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
At the rising sun and at its going down, at the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, at the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, at the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, at the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of the autumn, at the beginning of the year and when it ends. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us. When we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, when we have decisions that are difficult to make, when we have joy we crave to share, when we have achievements that are based on theirs. For as long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us. we remember them.
You may be seated. So we end our service today with the singing of Adon Olam, a short piyut or liturgical poem that focuses on themes of an eternal God and references the famous line of Psalm 23, "I fear no evil, for you are with me." Its general message is that Adonai is present in the day-to-day lives of every individual. There are countless melodies for Adon Olam, and in some communities it is common to sing the prayer to a timely secular melody. For example, Yankee Doodle on the 4th of July weekend, or Taxman on the week before Tax Day. Therefore, it is only fitting that today's tune will be to the tune of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Following our closing song, we'll have a non-conga line to take us outside for a quick kiddush and motzi and possibly a little horror and chair lifting. So please listen carefully to our next steps that I will repeat again after we take you out from the service, take you out from the chapel. So once we conclude, Nathaniel's going to then continue playing, and then we are going to invite people to go out this door and the back. Actually, there's 3 doors. There's this door, there's the door right there, and if you want to go out the last door in the very, very back, to start going out, and we're going to form a large circle. We don't have to hold hands or anything like that. And then Ezra's family will be in the middle, and we will do a kiddush together. And after that, we're going to do a little bit of a horror and chair lifting. Yes? Okay, so just you can leave all of your things here so that we can go out. You'll come back and get everything afterwards. And also the other things I do want to say is that after the chair lifting and the horror and the kiddush that we do outside, when you come back, please do bring your things and take a siddur. They were made by love from Ezra's family. They want you to have one. If you borrowed a kippah, though, however, please make sure that those get back. And I think that is it. Ezra, do you want to say?
I'll just clarify. So when I'm noodling for the song to transition, we're going to have most people just go out the back door, find Sasha. She'll be a pillar for where we're going to gather to do this chair dancing. And then I'll just take 1 or 2 volunteers to just help me with the speaker, because we're going to face it towards the parking lot and really blast the Hava Nagila towards everyone. So thank you for the volunteer. Most everyone else will head out that way, look for Sasha, and we'll circle up.
Okay. Ezra?
Okay, let's sing Adon Olam.
Adon Olam asher mala b'teren kol yitzir nivra. If you don't know the words, just yet it I. Le'nasa v'chesa kol azayin melech shemo nikra ve'ah Hare hichlot hakol levado yimloch nora V'hu haya v'hu hove v'hu yeh betifara Yairai 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 Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the
Giants.
It's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Okay, you can leave some of your things here. We're going to quietly start moseying our way outside.
So going out the different directions.
Mostly through the back doors, and I'll take a volunteer here to help me with this speaker. We'll head our way towards the parking lot. Check, check. All right. Can everyone hear me over there? So if you hear this song, you know the cue. So Ezra will have you sit in the chair here while we sing this last and final song. Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Ismecha Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Ismecha Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Ismecha Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Ismecha Uru Achim urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim urachim belev sameach. All right, everybody, one more time through that. Here we go. Hava Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Ismecha Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Yay Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Ismecha Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Ismecha Ru Yee Urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim. Is Ileana looking at the chair to get in it? Looks like she might. Belev sameach Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Yesme Woohoo Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Yesmecha Uru Achim urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim belev sameach urachim urachim. You can turn to someone next to you, just give them an elbow bump for a beautiful parking lot hora dance. B'nev sameach. Okay, one announcement.
All right, so Mazel Tov again. Ezra, you are invited to grab your things, put away your kippot, etc. There is food in boxes for you, and you can eat inside or outside, and
there are boxes that have a bagel and fruit salad that are more designed for the younger folks here under 16. And then there are boxes that have something else that I can't quite remember, but it's delicious. And that's for adults. And there's seating outside and inside. Enjoy. Thank you.